This is Now Africa 24. It began with a soft, almost forgettable chime, one of those short digital beeps that usually went unnoticed in the daily noise of government offices. But the moment the encrypted diplomatic alert pulsed onto the secure screen inside Burkina Faso's Ministry of Defense, everyone in the room sensed something different. Alerts from The Hague were rare. Alerts with this tone were even rarer. The message displayed was unusually brief, stripped of nuance, stripped of humanity, stripped of context. Just 13 words. Your soldier is now under preliminary examination for excessive use of force. 13 words that could upend a career. 13 words that could fracture alliances. 13 words that could shake the foundation of a nation's trust in an institution that claimed universality and fairness. There was no explanation of the incident being referred to, no mention of the operation, no background provided, no acknowledgement of what Burkina Faso already knew, what their own internal investigation had uncovered days earlier, and certainly no mention of the foreign military advisor whose bullet had actually caused the tragedy that now hung like a storm cloud over the country. Inside the ministry, the air thickened. A silence settled over the room, punctuated only by the hum of an aging air conditioning unit and the faint rustle of uniforms. Senior officers exchanged glances, some confused, some irritated, some already anticipating what this meant for the soldier involved. Slowly, one of them tapped a command on the console, and the message vanished into the encrypted archives. They reopened the operation report. Everyone knew the details by heart. But they also knew that when the International Criminal Court decided to look into something, every detail had to be re-examined, reinterpreted, and defended as if the fate of the entire armed forces hinged on it. The mission in question had been a joint patrol, Burkinabé soldiers accompanied by 2 European military advisors. The location was a border zone infamous for militant activity and unpredictable ambushes. The terrain, a mix of harsh bushland and uneven dry earth, created natural blind spots, places where attackers could vanish in seconds. That day, the patrol had been moving cautiously, every footstep measured, every sound amplified by the oppressive quiet of the wilderness. And then it happened. An ambush launched with terrifying precision. Insurgents opened fire from 2 sides almost simultaneously. Dust erupted around the soldiers. The front line scrambled for cover. Radio communication faltered. In the chaos, deaths usually make sense. They have context. They have direction. But the death that triggered the diplomatic storm did not make sense at all. A single shot cut through the confusion, louder, sharper, oddly distinct. One Burkinabé soldier dropped instantly, his weapon slipping from his grasp before anyone knew where the shot came from. At first, everyone assumed it was hostile fire. After all, they were under attack. But when the ballistic analysis report came back, it delivered a truth colder than any battlefield horror. The shot had not come from insurgents. It had come from behind the Burkinabé position. And the rifle responsible belonged to one of the European advisors. A friendly fire incident. Except the friendliness was extremely one-sided. The ministry forwarded the ballistic report to The Hague, requesting a joint clarification. They asked for the advisor to be interviewed. They asked for any additional data from his recording equipment. They asked for transparency. 3 requests, 3 unanswered messages. Instead, the advisor was quietly placed under operational immunity, effectively shielding him from questioning, liability, or even procedural review. Case dismissed before it could begin. Meanwhile, the Burkinabé soldier who survived the ambush, who risked his life to hold the line and prevent more casualties, was the one now under ICC scrutiny. He had returned fire under active attack. He had followed protocol. He had responded exactly as soldiers are trained to when facing imminent threats. But he was the one being investigated for excessive force. Not the advisor whose bullet had taken a life. Not the alliance that refused accountability. Only him. The imbalance was glaring. As the ministry staff reviewed the documents again, frustration grew into something deeper. Disbelief mixed with a sense of betrayal. The ICC's message didn't even mention the friendly fire death. Not one sentence acknowledged it. Not one line recognized the complexity of the ambush. The communication focused solely on the actions of the Burkinabé soldier, as if he existed in a vacuum, as if he had fired shots on a calm afternoon rather than in a life-or-death firefight. The room remained silent for several minutes. Then, slowly, the defense minister gathered the scattered papers and placed them into a secure dossier. That evening, he delivered the report to President Ibrahim Traoré. The president's office was dimly lit, a single desk lamp illuminating the documents. Traoré read in stillness, page by page, his expression unreadable. Only his fingers tapping softly on the desk betrayed the intensity of his thoughts. When he reached the ballistic report, when he saw the line confirming that a foreign advisor's bullet had killed a Burkinabé soldier, he looked up and asked just one question. Why is justice applied only to us and never to them? The question wasn't rhetorical. It was philosophical, political, and existential all at once. And it was the question that would set off a chain reaction stronger than anyone anticipated. Before sunrise, Traoré convened an emergency National Security Council meeting. Ministers, military chiefs, legal advisors, all were present. The council reviewed not only the incident, but years of ICC interactions. Patterns emerged. Dozens of African soldiers and leaders investigated. Yet almost no Western military personnel examined, despite multiple conflicts where allegations of misconduct had surfaced. The council debated for hours. Some proposed filing formal objections. Some suggested demanding an oversight audit. Others argued that the ICC was no longer functioning as a neutral international court. It had become an institution that judged certain regions more harshly than others. Traoré remained quiet through most of it, but when he finally spoke, his words were decisive. If justice is truly international, then it must be equal. And if it is not equal, then remaining in such a system is not justice. It is submission. The vote was taken. The decision was unanimous. Burkina Faso would withdraw from the International Criminal Court. When the announcement was made public, global reactions erupted instantly. European commentators labeled it risky. African analysts called it overdue. Human rights organizations expressed concern. Meanwhile, inside Burkina Faso, something unexpected happened. People felt relief. For soldiers, the withdrawal meant one thing. Their sacrifices wouldn't be selectively judged. For civilians, it meant their nation refused to stand in the shadow of institutions that treated them as suspects by default. For the family of the soldier killed by friendly fire, it meant the truth would not be buried to protect a foreign advisor. The media analyzed every angle. Debates raged on television. Professors wrote papers. Embassy wires lit up with frantic assessments. But inside the barracks, the conversation was much simpler. "It's always us," one soldier said. "Only us," another added. "Maybe now they'll think twice," a third concluded. The survivor, the soldier placed under ICC preliminary examination, remained quiet through it all. He stayed at his base, training, keeping his head low. He didn't want fame. He didn't want politics. He only wanted the truth to matter. And for perhaps the first time since the ambush, he felt the country standing behind him. Internationally, the debate intensified. Critics argued that Burkina Faso risked isolating itself. Supporters countered that African nations had long been judged disproportionately. A few Western analysts admitted cautiously that perhaps the ICC needed reform. But most avoided discussing the friendly fire incident, the immunity granted to the advisor, or the unanswered diplomatic requests. Those details were inconvenient. Yet those details were the heart of the matter. Weeks turned into months. Diplomatic relations readjusted. But domestically, something changed. A new national consciousness began forming. Soldiers whispered about past missions where foreign advisors had overstepped or panicked under pressure. Villagers recalled operations where foreign troops acted with little understanding of local dynamics. These stories had been voiced softly before. Now they were spoken loudly. The friendly fire case was no longer a single tragedy. It was a symbol, a painful, powerful symbol. A symbol of unequal partnerships, a symbol of selective accountability, a symbol of a justice system that demanded obedience but did not offer fairness. Years later, analysts would look back on the moment as a turning point in Burkina Faso's political identity. Not because of anger, not because of nationalism, but because a country that had long felt scrutinized finally demanded to be seen on equal terms. And the question Traoré asked that night: why is justice applied only to us and never to them? Continues echoing across discussions of international law, sovereignty, and fairness. The ICC never answered that question directly. But Burkina Faso answered for itself, with action instead of waiting for explanations that would never come.